Hi, this is David Shedd, publisher and senior editor of EasternSlopes.com, and I'm here today with the Lowa Baikal GTX winter backpacking boot. It's a boot we've been testing for about a year now, and it's a fantastic boot. Depending on your personal needs and uses, of course, and the personal fit. It's a fairly low volume boot, so for somebody with a very large volume foot, it wouldn't work as well. But for anybody who it fits, great design for winter backpacking. And Lowa is one of those German companies that have great engineers, and they come up with some great designs and great features, and then they assume that we're as smart as they are and that we'll understand them all. And frankly, most of us, including us here at EasternSlopes.com, are not. So it took us a while to figure out everything about this boot because there wasn't anything in the literature that told us about it. A few things that are particularly special about it. The whole sole structure is very, very good for winter backpacking because it's very stiff at the edges. And when you put that onto a snowshoe and you're trying to put pressure on that, especially on a side hill, that support structure will hold the edge of the snowshoe and allow you to get it into a crust. Another nice thing about it is when you're on icy, wet and icy conditions, if you look, I don't know if we can get this well or not, but if you look at these, you'll see that this is, there's actually a cord, like a fabric cord in each of these, and that helps give you some better traction when things are nasty and icy. So extremely solid and stable. The boot itself, even though it's a fabric boot, has got an excellent structure and a lot of support through the shaft, so that when you're in a snowshoe and you're carrying a heavy backpack, and of course winter backpacking you tend to have pretty heavy packs, sometimes we've put 75 pounds or more on these, it gives the kind of support that's needed. Little detail that we found out almost by accident at one point is if you look at the insole, it's a nice insole, but if you look carefully, see the metallic color in here, that's a radiant barrier. So the boot is, as the heat is radiating from your foot down towards the snow, it's reflecting the heat back at you. It's a great thing to do, and by reflecting from the bottom up, it's still allowing the moisture. Radiant barriers, some of them allow breathability, some don't. This one clearly doesn't because there's no holes in it, but it doesn't have to because it allows moisture to come up through the Gore-Tex membrane. But the thing about this boot that we really actually like the most when it comes to winter backpacking is this tongue stud right here. And you can see it's a little metal stud. And let me see if I get that better there. You can see from the side. And not very well. There we go. You can see how much room there is here. And it's one of those things that nothing was said about it. But what it does is it allows you, it's part of the lacing system. And when you wrap around it, it holds the laces very well. And I'm going to actually lace this boot up so that you can see. Because the boot has such a great structure and because the stud holds it so tight, don't have to lace as tight as I do with a lot of boots. And when I get to the next to the top, you'll notice I wrap under the stud and then roll around it and tie it off. And when winter backpacking, the first thing we do, basically as soon as we put the boots on, is put on gaiters. And if you get bad conditions for winter backpacking, where it's snowy, windy, rainy, whatever, typically, you very often have conditions where sometimes out there where it's well below zero. You don't want to be constantly taking your gloves off, taking your gaiters off, and retying a boot. And we've had days where we tied our boots on in the morning with these boots and with this tongue stud, and put the gaiters on, and went backpacking, and at the end of the day, took the gaiters off, and took the boots off, and never once adjusted the laces during that time. And that's extraordinary. It almost never happens with a boot. And again, in really awful conditions, it makes a big difference. So this isn't the only boot that Lowa has that has this particular stud. But when you're looking, if you're considering the Lowa boots, and you're thinking about them for winter backpacking or anything where you're going to be using a gaiter for any significant amount of time, again in the winter, I'm not so worried about it in the summertime, we would highly recommend looking for that particular feature on the boot, and maybe a step up from the one you're otherwise looking at, but it's worth it. So anyway, that's the boot, and I'm now going to take off and go have some fun wearing them and doing something more interesting than talking on the tape.